Hello, we're here at the Town Hall. So for our regular Money Matters Café at the Town Hall on Thursdays between 2 and 4. This is actually our last session for the year. So I thought what we could talk about is making some New Year's resolutions for next year, particularly financial New Year's resolutions. Some people don't like making resolutions or they break them immediately, but if you are the sort of person that likes to make some resolutions, then you might want to choose one or two financial New Year's resolutions. I've got some ideas if you want to make some resolutions, if you want some guidance in that direction. And I suppose the first one I've thought of is just to see where you stand. Start the new year knowing where you stand financially. So that probably involves getting your bank statements out for this year, having a look and see where the areas of expenditure have been. Just build a picture of what you're getting in terms of income, in terms of wages or benefits, or so money coming in, how you're spending your money, where the money's going. If you want to analyse that expenditure a bit, you could look in terms of how much of it is essential. You've got to spend that every month or week, and how much of it is nice to have. And I don't think anyone, even in these difficult times, I don't think anyone can cut out all of the nice to haves. It's really important to make life worth living, to carry on having some of that more discretionary expenditure, I suppose, if you can afford it in your budget. So do a budget, find out where you stand, and then I suppose depending on that, what changes might you need to make. So maybe you need to pay down some debt if you've got expensive debt, or credit card debt, or an overdraft, which is even more expensive than credit card debt. You might want to work out, well, how much can I put of my income towards paying down that debt, getting rid of your debt. And a good way of working is to work out, well, what's the most expensive debt? Get rid of that first, and then move on to the lower interest rates. So that might be a good idea. And then next off, you could think, well, how can I guard against emergencies, risks that might come up? And the best way of doing that is to build up an emergency fund. So again, look back at your budget, and of your essential expenditure in your budget, maybe set aside 6 months, 9 months of your essential expenditure, and if you can, build up that amount in an easy access savings account, or premium bonds. I quite like to use premium bonds for my emergency fund. Any prizes you might win,
or a bonus then, aren't they?
Or a bonus, and they're tax free, and it's backed by the government. So, and it sort of ring fences that emergency fund a little bit. It's not just sitting around in your bank account where you might spend it, and it's just out of reach a little bit. But you can normally get to that money within a week. So it's like an instant access deposit account, but you don't get paid interest. You get paid prizes if you're lucky. Yeah. And then, if you've got an emergency fund and you think that you now want to start saving towards bigger goals, bigger financial goals, like building up a deposit on a house, or saving towards your retirement if you're a bit older. So the idea of then working out what the big goals might be. And someone before was saying, well, how much should I be putting towards the here and now? How much should I be putting towards my future? And a good way of working is to say, well, 50% of my income is going to go towards essential expenditure and paying down debt and the here and now. 30% can go towards having a bit of fun, so your discretionary expenditure, and 20% going towards your future goals, the further distant goals. And you might want to tweak those percentages, but that might be a good way of organising the proportions in which you're spending your money. And then I suppose it's just, again, looking at your expenditure. Have a look at your standing orders and your direct debits, and just see, are they all valid still? You know, are there things that you're still paying out for that you're not actually using or enjoying? And get rid of them. You know, if you're paying out on things that you don't use anymore, subscriptions to various streaming services or magazines or memberships for things that you're not doing anymore, just have a look and see, can you prune your budget in any direction? And then I suppose the bigger long-term goals, things like, have you made a will? If you have made a will, how long since you got it out the drawer and had a look, made sure all of the executors are still valid? Are the people that you want to leave everything to when you die, is that all still right? Does that still reflect your wishes? And possibly even more important than that is a power of attorney. And the idea of a power of attorney is that you're incapacitated in some way, so you're unable to make your own decisions for whatever reason. It might be temporary, it might be more permanent. So is there someone you trust and know well that you would like to make those sorts of decisions about your finances, about your property? And you can also make a power of attorney about your health and welfare. So if there's someone in your life that you would want to make those decisions if you weren't able to, then that's the idea of a power of attorney. So you might want to just think about that. I think that the start of a new year is a good line in the sand, really, and you can use that so just during those quiet, dark days in January, you can just use some of that quiet time to reflect and review and start some planning for the future. And by the beginning of January, we'll have just got through Christmas, and you will know how much you've spent on Christmas this year. And the video last week was all about planning for Christmas 2024. So maybe that's the time to think, okay, yep, we've had that lovely Christmas. This is how much I've spent. I'm going to divide that by 12, and I'm going to start a regular savings plan to save for Christmas next year, so that you'll try and reduce all of the big credit card bills that tend to come in January, that then people spend the whole year trying to catch up on. Yeah. So have a look at your regular expenditure. You know, is there a habit you've fallen into that you think, hang on a minute, if I cut out that cup of coffee I buy every day on the way to work, 5 times 52, 5 times going to work every day, spending out that money, that could add up to a sizable chunk if you cut out that. And again, everyone needs to enjoy themselves, but take a thermos of coffee with you.
Well, it's dry January anyway, isn't it? So you're cutting out all the alcohol. You might as well save a bit more money on other things as well.
And another thing you might think about doing is having a bit of a spending fast.
Yeah.
See how long can I go without actually spending any money? Can I eat out of my freezer? Can I eat out of my store cupboards? Can I have a bit of a review of my pantry? See if I've got anything in there that I ought to be eating up. Can I rely on what I've already built up to make January really quite a cheap month? Because you've possibly got some financial hangover
from the big bills will come by the end of January.
Yes. So see if you can pull in your horns, rein everything in January. Maybe go on a bit of a spending fast. And I suppose the last thing is to think about all of those January sale temptations. Just think, do I need it? Do I really need it? Is this a bargain? So try and resist those impulse buys.
That's a little bit harder to do, isn't it?
It is hard. It is hard to do, but one thing that I know some people do is if they see something and they think, I really want that, they write it down and they leave it for 24 hours. And they'll go back the next day. You know, even if it's on a sale in a shop, you could say, please could you put this back? I'll come in tomorrow morning. And just give yourself that thinking time, because often an impulse buy, it is exactly that, and the joy of it just fades so quickly. You know, if there's something that you really need, you really want, just go home, make sure you haven't got that pair of black trousers already in your wardrobe. You know, do you really need another thing? Yeah.
I agree with your point about January sale spending. However, if people watched our video last week, sometimes you can buy your Christmas
bargains.
But I wouldn't say that that's necessarily an impulse buy, because it's different. If you've planned to go and get something and get it for the best price you can find, that's very different from just being out browsing and coming across something that you think you want. But yeah, absolutely. I think there is a difference between an impulse buy and picking up a bargain that you know you need.
I'm always shocked at looking at my bank account and seeing how many subscriptions I've got that I sign up to through the year, and you know, forget that I've done it. And I think, oh, it's £10 here and £10 there, but actually spend quite a bit of money each month on that kind of thing. So I usually try and cull them. There's a few charitable donations that I cull in January, and then, you know, I realise I'm sort of like broke. So that's not always. That's one of the things I do. So it's a bit hard, but you know, sometimes I find that I say yes to a lot of things. So I just can't afford them.
Go back to it.
Exactly.
So I think January and resolutions, it's all about review of the past year. What have you done? What's been good? Try and build up those habits, those good habits, and try and stop doing the bad habits. So do a bit of a stock take and try and build in some habits. I think they say that by the time you've repeated a habit over 30 days, if you really do ingrain it in yourself. And there's 31 days in January, so if you can get to the end of January and have built up a habit that you've done every day in January, it should be fixed by that point.
Something else that I just realised as well is that if you are going to be spending money in January or any point really, if you use debit cards and you have internet banking, I went nationwide and you can do spare change transactions. So if you do buy anything, then it rounds up to the nearest account, and then the spare change from that transaction goes into a pot. Essentially,
that's your savings part.
That's your savings part.
So I think that's quite useful.
And you're perhaps not going to miss, you know,
at the time through the year, but it's nice to have that extra little bit for Christmas 2024.
For Christmas 2024. Oh, that's great. Well, Merry Christmas to everyone, and see you in the new year. We're starting back on the 18th of January, so that will be our next video clip. Okay, bye.